Hey there, and good morning, or good afternoon, or good whatever it is, wherever you happen to be right now. Hope you're doing well today. Um, Wanted to come on. I did not want to come on. I'm going to be honest. I was asked to come on and do a little live, and it speaks to, it will circle around, I promise, what the live is about. The fact that I was asked to do this. So first of all, welcome to the several new members since the last live, less than 24 hours ago. We are having quite a membership boom. It's very exciting to see so many folks who are joining us here in strategy and solidarity. And as I have the opportunity as one of your co-founders and facilitators, again, my name is Carlos. Um, they, them. Uh, I am so excited to get to see people's profiles, the things you're sharing, the information being shared in the superhero question that new members are asking. And I'm having one-on-one conversations with a lot of people because universally, I'm sharing a welcome with each and every new member. And some choose to write back, some do not. I don't take it personally one way or the next. I'm very glad to be in communication with those who are comfortable being in that kind of communication in social media. I know that that can get tricksy for some of us in particular. And that will also speak to this conversation this morning. So one of the things that we founded strategy and solidarity, I almost stumbled on it, around is an answer to the social media overwhelm and burden that so many of us feel, right? We've talked about no bots, no ops, no ads, no, I forget what else. No. Like the icky things that exist in Zuckerberg's world and the reason that he's being sued again. We are not trying to create an algorithm that's going to keep you here with rage. We are not trying to create AI situations and both personally and professionally disabuse ourselves of AI as a staple tool of creation. It is a fine organizational tool for those who need such for their access needs, and in the sciences where it moves forward, healthcare, great, fantastic, love it. For art and human connectivity, that's not what we are building, hoping to build. What we are building and hoping to build, aiming to build, and we can't say for sure, right? Because the more members, the more it shifts, changes, grows, and evolves because we listen to the membership, right? And we watch the membership because what we are trying to grow is an interdependent rhizome and a healthy rhizome, meaning that every living part of our system and of our community is in health and living in a way that supports every other living part, such that, as I had alluded to yesterday on the live, when there are community members who find themselves in direct communication around building solidarity and creating strategies for surviving the mill in which we find ourselves as the grist. We look for community, we look for support, we look for access. That's what we are really, really, really after, right? That's what we are really after. This is the first time in our growing rhizome that we have had such a large representation from what appear to be, based on what they have provided thus far in their bios, um, cis men and cis het men and white cis het men. Now, when I say that as such, it is because that is a group that with which Teresa and I have very low familiarity in terms of maintaining working relationships. For me, I will be honest, I have not worked with a cis het man, a white cis het man directly. In about 20 years. I have had a couple of clients and have had great success because they were real thinkers and folks who were willing to go to the places of feeling, right, and to explore more deeply the feeling close to the bone, right? What's really there, the feeling that drives spirit, what's really underneath the motivations that lead to people who are building community, who are building a healthy rhizome, choosing their tactics, their boundaries, their ideas, their philosophies, themselves, most importantly, right? Just themselves, most importantly. I think for us, what we have learned over 15 years, close to, of working together, is that human connectivity is the answer, right? That mutual aid is the answer. And part of that is understanding that while universally here together thematically, we are moving toward those ideas and a sense of justice and belonging where race and gender are never taken off of the table. It's just not taken off of the table. And the reason is simply every bit of historical, socio-political, and political evidence that we have about what happens when white men are in charge. It seems they might be a bit sensitive for the job. Might be moving from emotion quite a bit and not really doing the things that would provide a healthy society, which is what we are trying to create, right? Which is what we are trying to ride this moment into, which is what we are trying to be birthed into, to birth ourselves, which also means tapping into our divine femininity, which means being able to listen, which means we don't have to be the hero, and which ultimately means that none of us, few of us, and certainly some, right? Because we're all people. This is not, I am not trying to be coming from a place of gender essentialism at all. Very few of us come from a place of feeling as though we have the single solitary secret answer that's going to somehow cure all the ails society in the world. That sort of plot scheme. I'm not saying those words to be divisive. That kind of idea truly is one that is rooted deeply in colonialism, in this idea of individualism, a hero who's somehow going to come down with the answers for us all. And if we would just listen to them, then we'd be fine. That is not the space that we are hoping to create. We are hoping to create conversations, not debates. We are hoping to grow together, to be able to get frustrated with each other, to be able to love each other, to be able to be there for each other, to be there to teach each other, to learn from each other. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And that's why you see the people that you see in social services. That's why you see the people that you see in essential services. That's why you see the people that you see in nursing. That's why you see the people that you see in this community. And that's why you see the people that you see in strategy and solidarity. I have been blessed to be trusted by the community that I have been a part of. And part of being a part of the community that I am means listening and learning. And it means growing, it means changing. I was trained to be a boy. It did not take. I am two-spirit. And the more I owned that, the easier it was for me to present an honest self to the world. And I had been trained to be a boy, so I knew how bad it was to be around exclusively heterosexually male presenting, male presenting talk. And yet, and still, and part of the trust and part of the learning, when the Me Too movement really took hold, because of Hollywood, because of our Hollywood celebrity culture. Blah. But when the movement really took hold, I had said to my colleagues and friends, to my community, if there is somebody in my circle still of whom I should be aware, please let that be known, because I don't want to be associated with abusers and gaslighters and the patriarchy in its most abusive forms, most explicitly, if not structurally abusive forms. And I was overwhelmed with the numbers of stories that I heard and names that came to my attention. And I am not interested in creating a space where that sort of unsafety is created for any community member, right? So to that degree, I would ask that if we are as the phraseology, were sliding into one another's DMs here in the app, reaching out to other community members, that perhaps, just as a matter of transparency, right? In particular, if you're a male presenting person, you may want to chat up the person and let them know specifically what you want to talk to them about, and to do so in the community thread, in the chat, in the public chat, because if it is about the exchange of ideas and developing new ideas, I'm sure that even if it is just a conversation that you're looking to have with myself, with Teresa, with any of the other brilliant women who are part of this community, that we would all benefit from that conversation. Also, it would let that person know that you are not, in fact, doing some weird creep thing or trying to hit on them. Not that anybody has done such a thing. I'm not suggesting that. But there's no vibe. There's no vibe. There's no vibes. 6'7", 6'7". There's no vibes at all given if it is a public conversation and you ask, can we take this offline? Because you have some personal stake that you would like to reveal, because it deepens the conversation toward liberation. Get it? That's vulnerability. That's what we're after, right? Vulnerability is strength. And vulnerability is not, I have learned over a great number of years, something that lives in simply sharing our ideas and special interests, right? That's where we show how smart we are, or how right we are, or why we should have been Spider-Man, we should have been Luke Skywalker, we should have been Odysseus. No, well, okay, all right. But even in those circumstances, each one of those people sacrificed so many for an idea, and one that is not realized in any of the stories, because if you're sacrificing community members for an idea about what community ought to be, or where you ought to be, or what you should have, then we're not building community, So, and lastly, right, the thing that is true for most of the folks I know who are in the movement, leadership is not true leadership. I'm not talking about popularity contests and elections and this kind of thing. I'm not talking about position in a job or a band or whatever. I'm talking about the people who lead community from a place of being connected to people, building trust, hearing problems, asking questions, and ultimately, in doing so, and through serving as a possibility model, leadership becomes something that is thrust upon people because a community, an individual, a group, a participant in a workshop asks, right? For instance, that is why participants in workshops, as we were not closing out, said that talking with us, listening to us, is like listening to a podcast, and that they need that in their lives. And even at that, it took another year and a half before the podcast happened, because we weren't sure what that meant or what that looked like, right? And it speaks to the question that drives me. And I would ask of, in particular, cishet men who find themselves being called to places where the movement towards solidarity is happening. And that question is, when you offer a philosophy, a skill, a special interest up for discussion, or you offer to intervene in an issue that you are witnessing on the table, the question that comes to my mind is, who asked you? Did somebody ask you? Did somebody ask you to fix the problem? Did somebody ask you for your philosophy? Did somebody ask you to show up in their DMs? Did somebody ask you to introduce your political party before the next election? Whatever it is, whatever it is. I'm not. These aren't even things that have all happened. I'm just saying stuff. But the stuff I'm saying are the areas of engagement that are essential in building a meaningful community. And we are trying to build a global community of trust and interdependence, right? And so, as one of the founders, for me, I depend on the trust of which I spake, the trust that allowed for the women in my life across the gender spectrum to be honest with the realities and fears of what it is to be around cishet men and to have relationships with them and what it has meant for the past, since the foundation of Western culture, right? So my ask is that if you are here, first of all, welcome. That you give real thought and careful consideration to taking a little bit of time to listen and learn. If there is a movement in which you're particularly interested, I invite you to go ahead and explore, ask about whether or not people, are what are people doing in that direction, in that movement? What are people already doing? There are people on the ground doing it. I promise you, who have, if I, for instance, if what I have is a thesis and a theory about what we need to do to create some kind of change, I promise you there is a group of Black and brown women somewhere in this country who's been working on seeing that happen for at least 30 to 40 years. And it would be a better use of everybody's time for me to simply find that group of people and to ask, how can I be of service? May I be of service? And then whatever those people say, that's the answer. You found it. You found it. And it's probably not glamorous. It's probably not fantastic. It's probably not cute. You're not going to get to wear a cape or a cowl or anything good like that. But it does create real change, right? It is how leadership is grown. And we need to have a deep recognition, appreciation, and practice of structural protection. Structural protection. I'm not suggesting anybody go and like intervene and and do anything. Again, who asked? But structures that protect the safety of everybody. And by doing so, and by looking to protect the most impacted in any circumstance, which is why, again, we never take race or gender off the table. It will raise everyone's boats and create more safety for all, including for men who may not have other ways to communicate effectively, right? And are looking for that connection. And the connection matters deeply. And we want you connected. And the priority has to be keeping the rise home healthy and safe. And so that's what we're going to be working toward. So this was a long live. There was more nuance in there than I expected to come out of my mouth. Again, it comes from a place of watching our membership grow and being very surprised and thrilled to see so many, such a range across gender presentations. And for the first time in our professional lives, myself and Teresa, the founders here, this many appearing to be cishet white men volunteering to show up to work with us. That is new. So hopefully it's not new to you. And if it's not, then none of this is going to be a surprise. And you're probably sitting there, if you're a white dude watching this, going, yeah, no shit. If it is new to you and you're not going, yeah, no shit, maybe reflect on what may be a question. And if you have a genuine question, please feel free to write to me about it. And if it's coming from an honest place, I will honestly engage with you on it. Please, again, do not bother the women if you have interacted with any of the women in the site to ask them whether or not it's okay for you to continue bothering them. Ick. Okay, all right, I'm done now. Thanks very much, everybody. Again, new members, thank you so much for being here. And we will see you in a very short bit for the next Reclaiming Our Spirit. That's going to be happening in just a few minutes. And I'll be back live on Monday for Monday Moments. Please do check out the presentation Jamila just did that I cannot remember the name of. It was 2 days ago. I'm sorry. I can't remember the names of anything. It was great. Check it out. I'm done. Okay, bye.